And now we're going to move on to Mark Reynolds. Well, Mark, we can get your video on. Mark is the Group Chief Executive of Mace. Since being appointed in 2013, he's overseen the company's significant revenue growth. He's constantly championed change within the industry, driving innovation to improve service excellence while ensuring Mace continues to be more productive, more efficient, and a responsible company. Mark gained his early experience in commercial and aviation sectors. He was the Deputy Program Director for the London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games. I bet you got some stories to tell about that. Mark is currently the member of the Construction Leadership Council responsible for Skills Workstream, Board of Director for London First, and the Northern Powerhouse Partnership, and a trustee of Land Aid. Mark, thank you for taking time. I know it's kind of late for you, but it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, and good afternoon or good morning to everyone. So as you probably worked out, I'm a Brit, and I've been working with Todd. Actually, Todd and I first met in 1997. We are a £2 billion company. We develop our own buildings. We also consult as a major program project manager. We're also a major contractor, and we operate our buildings. And what I'm going to show you is part of our business where we're bringing together all of the things that you've heard Gary, Mutu, and Will just talk about. So this company is a subsidiary company within our overall business called Mace Tech. Like anything, I have a phrase called stealing one person's idea is plagiarism, and stealing many is research. So I hope like many of you today are researching. And we're just adopting the automotive approach, very much around taking a digital twin or a full BIM digital model and taking sub-assemblies and trying to create an assembly line. So that's what we want to do, is create housing products. We can do it with anything, be it aviation piers, be it data centers, schools, hospitals, whatever, and that's our focus. And this really came about from partly from Last Planner, which is really about plan reliability, and the lessons over the last 3 or 4 years, which we've gone away from really modularization to flat platform-based solutions. And I'll explain why we've gone away from that to platform solutions. So what we want to do is design flexible products quicker, smarter, better. We want to know where be able to track every product through the process. We want to buy and assemble our components. We want to have the choice where we do that and how we do that. We want to have a world-class logistics system that supports that. And ultimately, we want to be able to create a lasting legacy for our industry. And we have a purpose in our business to redefine the boundaries of ambition. And that's what we're trying to do. The image here is really much how we do this. And we want to move away from a vertically integrated organization to a value integrated organization, where we control the design. We can take any concept design and we want to create standard catalogs using federated models. We choose which we want to make or buy, and we only make anything where it's innovative, and we don't have that capability or capacity elsewhere. We try to bring things together using our logistics systems, and then we are trying to minimize the amount of people on site and provide that loop around customer feedback through Operate. We have got it wrong in a number of areas, so we've gone back and looked at a technology readiness model where we actually look at investigate. So we look at ideas and filter those ideas. Any good ideas we will test. We'll do those offline. When we start developing, we'll do full-size mock-ups to make sure it works so it doesn't fail. We test that product on a small scale, and then we introduce it. And then once we're happy with it, we'll create a business unit and embed it in our business. And then we have a phrase that we like to use called innovation multipliers. And here's one of our first generation projects of a real breakthrough innovation. We call it the Rising Factory. We stole it from a project in Amsterdam, which didn't go particularly well. And our focus was how can we create plan reliability and improve cycle times. Using Todd's phrase was around the whip was our buffer, and that was to minimize plan reliability, minimize variability and give us plan reliability. Inside the big tent, it looked like this. It was a factory. We put the factory on top of the building. It was a residential story tower, 400 apartments, 8 apartments per floor, and we built a factory in there. We could work on the top deck. The next deck down, we did the cladding. And then the next deck down, we did started the floor loading and floor finish. We achieved an output of 1 floor in every 55 hours. That was including walls, floors, columns, pre-assembled risers, service modules, bathroom pods, and utility cupboards. The downside was it cost us £15 million for the 2 big tents. Took us 8 weeks on the critical path to erect it and 4 weeks on the critical path to dismantle it. So we didn't like that idea. We went to a different idea. How can we do away with the big tent? So this is what we call our East Village. Same client, same location. It was on the Olympic Park, very similar building, different facade. This is our iPhone 2. So you look at iPhone 12, we're at iPhone 2. And this has taken us 4 years. So the concept is we very much look at the BIM and taking a BIM model, but we use what we call using the federated model, we use system trees, a bit like Mutu showed. So we break everything down into the sub-assemblies, and we only look at sub-assemblies when they add value, and we look at materials and components. So we break all this down into a system tree that we can then track the sub-assemblies, the cost of sub-assemblies, the bill of materials in those sub-assemblies. And we use Autodesk Field and Glue to look at how we can, the installation on site, draw up our punch list and our life cycle testing. Key to what we do is creating this federated model, which is really important. And the federated model gives us our ability to chunk the floor plate up into a number of components, very simply structural modules. And these modules are made off site, delivered to site. This is a super slab, and let me tell you why it's a super slab. On these sub-assemblies, we can deliver the facade and the floor with 2 meter tolerance. Pretty impressive, that is, 2 meter tolerance. That gives us the ability to build a safe structure very quickly. And using a kit of parts approach around the columns, walls, service modules, utility cupboards, and bathroom pods, we can now deliver, we can make off-site through componentization. Our federated model gives us a bill of materials. A bill of materials goes straight to the factory where we can make our super slabs with all the components, all of the rebar is known, the cost of the rebar. We're getting greater certainty around the labour and efficiency and productivity. And then once they're made, they're shipped to Move Very Close, which is next to our a prefab area, which is done by a partner. We don't actually have the manufacturing capability. We partner with someone. We rent their land. And if you look at the left of the photo, interesting, you'll see a number of slabs piled up. Todd will call that waste. I call that opportunity. And we will turn those slabs, now we've seen it, that's waste, into an opportunity to reduce the carbon content by over 30%. We don't need as much cement in those slabs because they're curing. And they don't actually need to achieve their 30-day strength until they arrive on site. So we can actually achieve work towards net zero carbon buildings by changing the approach that we're taking. But in the assembly area, we assemble all of the facades on the ground. we put the service modules in the precast slab. In our supply chain, the cladding can either come from China, it can come from Europe, but the concrete is made in our off-site facility at Brandon, and it's shipped to, in this case, London. So in the UK, there's a big agenda around levelling up and making sure work goes around the country. We erect the facade on the ground. As I said, it comes in packs, and then it's erected on the building on the ground, so thereby reducing the cost of the any scaffolding, safety, and also people running up and down buildings. We track all of these components, so we monitor our sub-assemblies through floors, vertical slabs, vertical columns, cores, twin walls, facades, bathroom pods. They're all on a tracking system using Wynomia, so we know how long things take within the process of these sub-assemblies, so we can track the time from manufacturer through to site installation. It's delivered to site in the normal way on the back of a low loader, and it's erected and installed. And then what we have on site is the site module going in and the prefabricated, so in the floor slab with the module going in place. We've cut down the people on site by over 60%, and it's being done much quicker. So during lockdown, this is just a snapshot of a morning, and just look at the top of the tower, the tallest tower. So at 7 a.m. we put the first perimeter on the building. At 9 o'clock, that's where we were. We had nearly two sides of the building finished. This photo does a little bit of a disservice. That cladding, that floor slab going in at the time on the top left hand of the photo, we had a bit of a problem with that one. That one had to go in and then it had to come out again. So it didn't actually fit right first time. And by 2 o'clock, we'd finished the floor slab. And we work on a 7-day cycle. And this is just an image of the top slab. Oh, by the way, that cycle I showed you was actually done, as I say, 2nd of July during lockdown. Pretty impressive. We also use a tool called Lobster to photograph and track everything, so we can see our progress and get some learning from that. But actually, going back to what was said earlier about we work on a cycle time, so we don't want to do a floor any quicker than 7 days at the present time. So it's 1 day to do the floor and facade. Day 2, we do the stitching and concreting the floors together. Day 3, we bring in the walls, floors and columns. Day 4, we put up the temporary props and we do the infill between the precast walls. Day 5, we bring the utility cupboards and the bathroom pods in. And day 6 and 7, we rest, and that's our weekend. We're also looking at other areas, so other product-based solutions. So how can we avoid drywall and use pre-assembled walls, pre-service walls? How can we go quicker? How we can use bathrooms, washrooms as a componentized systems. And just one thing I add, why we've gone away from modules, is because when you put back-to-back modules, you lose space and it costs money as a net to lettable area. We've done the same with kitchens. Can we put kitchens on modules? I'm not convinced around that one at the moment. And the key thing here is why we're doing this. We're only doing this because we want to be quicker, better quality, and ultimately cheaper. At the present time, our costs are broadly the same. We know the cost of the materials, but our performance and the cost of the off-site assembly area basically makes us break even in the overall cost. But what we are getting, the speed, and if we are a developer, we're saving, let's typically take a £100 million building. We're saving around about £1.5 million in finance. And if it's a build to rent facility, we're getting new revenue of around about 2.4 to 3.6 million pounds earlier. So it's new revenue we never had. So we have two goals really. We want to turn construction into production, and we want to create a transplant factory solution that we can go and deliver this anywhere in the UK, anywhere in Europe, and ultimately anywhere in the world. So we have a phrase called construction to production, and that's the approach we're taking. So hopefully that's given you an idea. I'll put my contact details in the chat if you want to get hold of me, and happy to take any questions later. Thank you.
All right. Wow. You're pretty far down the line of improvement in applying production management to what you do. That's pretty impressive. Thank you for sharing that. That's very insightful. It's inspiring.